Good morning. I'm State Representative Dave Pinto. I'm the chair of the House Early Childhood Finance and Policy Committee, and I'm calling this meeting of the committee to order pursuant to House Rule 10.01, which allows for virtual hearings of this type. Members of the public, our meeting agenda and other materials are posted on our committee website, so I urge you to check that out, and you'll find everything that you need there. We're going to begin, as we always do, by having the clerk take the roll. Ms. Chambers, please.
Representative Pinto, Chair.
Present.
Representative Pryor, Vice Chair.
Present.
Representative Franson.
Present.
Representative Bennett.
Present.
Representative Bolden.
Present.
Representative Daniels.
Present.
Representative Dabney.
Present.
Representative Damas.
Present.
Representative Jurgens.
Present.
Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn.
Present.
Representative Morrison.
Morrison present.
Representative Waslowik. Representative Wolgamott. We do have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. And I believe both Representatives Waslowik and Wolgamott will be joining us. Representative Pryor, if you could move approval of the minutes from March 9th. I think that there is at least one correction to those as well. Maybe you can move the approval and then we can make that correction.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. And then the correction, I think Representative Pryor, you pointed out to me, I think in the version sent around, Representative Bolden was listed as excused, but actually was present for then. And so that's one correction. Any other additions or corrections to the minutes, members? And not hearing anything. So with that one correction, all in favor of approval of the March 9th minutes, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. We have our minutes approved for March 9th. Thank you, Representative Pryor. So members, we have a couple bills from Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn today. And the first one continues, really the first two, I guess, continue what we heard on Tuesday and last Thursday. You'll recall that I had asked for some presentations and bill presentations on what the need is in the area of early childhood, really identifying what is the need that we have, so we at least understand that. And so this first bill relates to early learning scholarships. It's House File 1293. Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, would you like to move to bring House File 1293 before the committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I would move House File 1293 to be before the committee for consideration.
Thank you. And then I believe that you have an author's amendment, the A1 amendment.
I do. If it's okay with the chair, I would like to just give a brief introduction and then move into the amendment with a couple details.
Yes, of course, please.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. And as Chair Pinto alluded to, members, so far this session, we've heard from a myriad of advocates, childcare providers, and familial caregivers about the ongoing need for additional investments in our early care and learning system here in Minnesota. And while there is a huge shortage of funding and thousands of children on the wait list, there are many ways that we can address the fiscal gap. And so today I'll be sharing a couple different options with you. Mr. Chair and members, House File 1293 is an early learning scholarship program, and it will expand that program to serve the 35,000 low-income Minnesota children under the age of 5 who still don't have access to these high-quality early learning programs. These 35,000 children in need, they deserve the same early learning opportunities as their more privileged peers. Early learning scholarships will help address the roots of racial and socioeconomic equity problems. Scholarships are aligned with the research to begin early in life, target funding to the most disadvantaged, demand the use of kindergarten readiness practices, and are flexible and portable to meet the needs of children and their families. So scholarships can open previously closed doors to parent-aware rated programs. And independent third-party research tells us that when our youngest Minnesotans can access quality programs, they make significant gains on kindergarten readiness measures in phonics, early math skills, social skills, persistence, executive function, and vocabulary. There is only one problem. We just don't have enough scholarships to serve all the children in need. So this bill would change that. At this time, I'd like to offer my author's amendment. While we began with an open appropriation for this program after the informative overview so far in committee and further consideration, I believe that this proposal can better serve the children and families of Minnesota by addressing the true need for early learning scholarships. So this amendment, the A1, does so by doing two things. First, it expands the scholarship eligibility to all infants and toddlers living in families at or below 185% of the federal poverty guideline. By expanding the eligibility from birth through 4 will allow the earliest of interventions for low-income families and allow those children to get a great start on their journey of early learning. We know that childcare, especially for infants, is difficult to find, cost prohibitive, and often hinders parents from either accessing that quality care or being able to return to the workforce. So by opening that targeted window from birth supports families when and where they need it the most. And then this amendment also fully funds the projected need to serve all 35,000 children within this extended eligibility criteria who are currently unable to access a scholarship. So, Mr. Chair, I would move the A1 amendment.
Okay, and thank you for explaining it. So members, let's put the bill in the form that the author wishes, then we can have a discussion. So it's the A1 amendment. Any questions regarding that? And not seeing any. So all in favor of adoption of the A1 amendment to put the bill in the form the author wishes, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. So the bill has been amended. And so Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, you've kind of started your presentation. Please continue, and then we can turn to testifiers when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And at this point, with the bill as amended, I would like to just move right into my testifiers to share a little bit more about the Early Learning Scholarship Program and the reimagining of what our childcare system could look like if we have the funding in order to update it and expand.
Thank you. So we'll turn to Mr. Grunewald. If you can please identify yourself. Welcome. So glad to see you here, and then identify yourself and proceed.
Great. Good morning, everyone. I'm Rob Grunewald. I'm an economist at the Federal Reserve Bank of Minneapolis. Chair Pinto and members of the committee, the Minneapolis Fed's work in early childhood began in 2003 when Art Rolnick, who was research director at the time, and I published a paper documenting the high public return from investing in young children, particularly children in disadvantaged circumstances. And note that my comments today are my own, not those of the Minneapolis Fed, and they're intended to provide background information for your discussion today. So this morning, I addressed the question, how much does it cost to reach all unserved children aged 0 to 5 in low-income families with an early learning scholarship? So in your packet, you have a slide titled Early Learning Scholarship Cost Estimate, which is prepared by Erica Moss and me. This estimate is informed with data on the number of eligible children by age and likely participation rates, an estimate of per child cost by age that reflect participation across a mix of program types, and the total amount of existing state and federal investment in early care and education for Minnesota's low-income children. So the total number of children times the cost per child minus the existing investment equals the total new funding needed. So as you can see on the slide, the total amount is $415 million per year, which breaks down to $47 million per year for children aged 3 to 4 and $368 million per year for children aged 0 to 2. So this investment would not only increase access for low-income children to high-quality early care and education programs, but would also help childcare centers and home-based family childcare providers stabilize revenue and potentially offer more competitive wages. And more early learning scholarships can create an incentive for new providers to enter the market to help address the lack of supply in many parts of the state. The funding could also expand the reach of public school-based programs that offers preschool and Head Start and early Head Start programs. So
Mr.
thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I should have maybe just stopped you earlier just to note for members and for members of the public that the document Mr. Grunewald was referencing is in our attachments section on the website labeled HF 1293_handouts. It was that first page of that packet, just to make sure we're all kind of oriented. And Mr. Grunewald, thank you so much for sharing that information. Direct your folks' attention to that document. Barb Faber, you are up next. If you can please identify yourself and proceed.
Bonjour and good morning.
Please.
Hi, miigwech for allowing me to testify today. My name is Barb Faber, and I am a member of the White Earth Ojibwe Nation. I am also a former administrator of early learning scholarships for the White Earth reservation. I want to express my support for HF 1293. Early learning scholarships has been so instrumental in recruiting new childcare providers for our area. It provides families with options that they may not have before. There's a lot of concern these days about Minnesota's childcare deserts. Our communities experiencing a shortage of quality childcare programs. These childcare deserts are disproportionately located in greater Minnesota. Over the years, I've learned a lot about supporting early care and education in greater Minnesota. For more than 3 decades, I was part of a team that brought that high quality early learning to the White Earth Indian Reservation. Since then, I've been supporting other tribes around the state with their childcare issues through the First Children's First Nations Childcare Collaboration. But it always comes back to early learning scholarships. I listen to parents, I listen to childcare providers, and early learning scholarships has been, I can't even express how important it's been for families. Scholarships benefit parents, children, and small businesses. The benefits of scholarships can be felt in all parts of our communities. For parents, it's empowering scholarships. They're flexible, they're portable enough to fit their lives and change their lives. It follows the child. Unlike other sources, it follows the child no matter where they are until they are 5 years old, until they enter kindergarten. For our most vulnerable children, scholarships guarantee high-quality programs over multiple years. It prepares them for school. It supports childcare providers, and it helps parents get to work or go to school. So imagine what would happen in our communities if we did invest in 35,000 more children every year. That would be so significant, especially in greater Minnesota. So I applaud you all for listening today and your consideration for support for early learning scholarship. It really is one of Minnesota's most innovative programs for parents, children, and support to the childcare crisis we are facing here in Minnesota. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Thank you for your leadership, longtime leadership in this work. We appreciate it. Brandon Royce Diop, I hope I'm saying your last name correctly, but if you could please identify yourself and proceed with your testimony.
Yes, good morning, Chair Pinto and representatives. Brandon Royce Joe, so it was close. I'm a Minnesota-born educator and currently a partner with Wildflower Foundation. I'd like to start by commending you all for heeding this call to invest in early childhood education, which we know through an established and still growing body of research is an important indicator of individuals' growth and development, and in every sense, also an indicator of our society's collective, familial, psychological, educational, and economic health. Wildflower is an economic ecosystem of decentralized Montessori micro schools that support children, teachers, and parents. Wildflower aspires to give all children and families an opportunity to choose high quality, beautiful learning environments. A growing number of Montessori schools, 30 nationwide and 5 here in Minnesota, have been started using the Wildflower approach to wholeness, equity, anti-racism, and liberation. Our schools are designed and led by teacher leaders who are committed to sharing their great talents, experiences, knowledge, and culture with the communities where they have the deepest ties. Our schools are culturally responsive and deeply communal, addressing the complex interplay between liberatory education, ownership, economic independence, and access. Our schools aim to center Black, Indigenous, and people of color in the larger questions around control in our city and state. Who owns our education? Who decides education's purpose? And how does it relate to the broader aspirations of our community? We seek to answer these questions in conjunction with our communities. Increasing early childhood scholarships for Minnesota's families with infants, toddlers, and preschoolers will empower disproportionately children of color in disproportionately low income communities with the spending power to invest in high quality early education for their children. It is Wildflower's mission and one of my own personally to ensure that every family can have access to beautiful, high quality education for their children. Early learning scholarships are critical to the issue of access. Can you imagine these 30,000 children and historically disenfranchised families with the power to acquire high quality care for their children without having to choose between good care and lights and heat, without having to choose between quality care and quality food and sustenance, and to invest in all of the things that every family in our great state should have, improving the overall quality of life for Minnesotans. To increase in educational early childhood scholarships will also help our teachers to pay themselves what we know they are worth. I'm wrapping up. The greater this investment is, the greater the power parents have to choose the best local and most responsive programs for their schools. And I believe this will also spur innovation and the development of quality care options designed with the needs of the children and families at the heart of these communities. This investment in our families and communities is a necessary investment in educational, economic, and racial equity, and thus an investment in the future of our state. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Royce Jope. Hope I came a little bit closer on that, on the second version of your name. Thank you so much for sharing your experience with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you. I've got Veronica Vitale up next. If you could please identify yourself and then proceed with your testimony. We'll get you unmuted there. And up, there you go. Hello.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for doing this. My name is Veronica Vitale, working with the Wildflower Foundation, Wildflower Schools. I'm nothing but really almost in tears to hear about this proposal. And I just want to testify the importance of early learning to our students, being a teacher-led school in a community that is on purpose set up for welcoming children. And for me, I've been working over 20 years. I work for different models. I work for private and I work for different charters. And now with the Wildflower, I seen the importance of investing in children. And I being a Montessori school, I seen the impact that children get when they get access. And 35,000 is, wow, breathtaking. And this investment will impact everyone, impact the society, impact definitely, especially the children in need and low-income families. And I have witnessed what early education does to these children, the empowerment they get, and not only the preparedness for school, it fosters social, emotional, and intellectual growth in all ways. So, and especially in a Montessori, the independence, the tools the children get for life, meaning everything, as I say, social, emotional, for me, it is huge. And even becomes before the academics. So I think this investment is gonna be like the most positive thing that can happen to impact our society. And this is for everything, right? It's like the whole, it goes around, like impacts one community, but it extends to everything. And the overcome is gonna be just beautiful and amazing. And for us too, it will help us continue serving these families. And also every single individual child deserves in this type of education. And these scholarships will absolutely help us all continue serving our communities. And our schools are mission-based, and we welcome anyone and everyone. And that's what we want to continue doing with your help.
Thank you, Ms. Vitale. We appreciate your testimony and your work. Thank you. We've got thank you. We've got Tempe Thompson as our last testifier. If you could please identify yourself and proceed with your testimony. And welcome.
Good morning, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Tempe Thompson, and as a foster parent, I have been deemed as an essential worker. I previously worked at the Minneapolis airport as a gate agent, but due to the pandemic, I was laid off, and now I'm currently unemployed. I'm a single parent of 3 children. My son is 18 and a freshman in college, and my daughters are ages 13 and 15 in grades 8 and 10 doing distance learning at home. And since April of last year, I have been fostering my 12-year-old nephew, who's in 6th grade, also doing distance learning. and my two nieces, ages 4 and 5, who attend Today's Life Child Care Center. My nieces were approved for the Early Learning Scholarship in June 2020. And from the first day of attending school, as my nieces call their daycare, has allowed these girls to maintain some sort of stabilization in their lives. I feel this is extremely important for them due to the previous trauma they've experienced before coming to my home. This scholarship has made positive impacts for our family. It allows for a quiet distance learning environment for my daughters, and especially my nephew who suffers from ADHD and has difficulties learning and focusing in school. And I'm so proud to announce that they all have made the A honor roll their first trimester. When I pick up the girls from daycare, they're so excited to tell me about their day. They love singing the Spanish songs that they've learned. They love demonstrating all the new yoga poses, and they just can't wait to show me all the various art pieces they've created. Plus, it's preparing my oldest niece for kindergarten in the fall. She is learning her letters and sounds and even writing and knows how to spell her name. But most of all, I enjoy hearing them talk about all the fun they have with their friends on the playground. This warms my heart to know that going to school brings them such a sense of normalcy to their young lives. Thank you for listening, and thank you for your time.
Ms. Thompson, thank you for your testimony. Congratulations to all of the A honor roll team in your home. And thank you for your important work with all 6 of those children. That's amazing and just terrific. So we've concluded the testifiers. Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, I'm inclined to move to member questions and discussion at this point. So we'll do that. Representative Jurgens, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn. And I signed on to this bill because I think it's important, and I signed on before the appropriation was known, which is always a dangerous thing to do. I did have a little bit of sticker shock when I saw the price tag on it, but I also understand that you wanted to be able to show that is the true need. That's the actual need. And so I don't know that we'll be successful at that amount. That is a great amount, and I think we can all agree on that. But I do think it's an important something that we do need to take a look at because of what we heard from the testifiers, the importance of these programs. So I just want to thank the testifiers for coming in today and telling their stories.
Thank you, Representative Jurgens. I should note, per Representative Jurgens' comment, the plan today is we will be laying this proposal over to make sure members of the public and others understand that the committee will be, and other committees will be receiving a budget target in a relatively short amount of time. Then we'll see what's available to spend. But it did seem important with this series of proposals, and including one we're going to be hearing a little bit later today, to just understand the true need. And as Representative Jurgens pointed out, it's been shared with us what the need is in this area. Perhaps Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn or somebody else could just remind us of the income. My understanding is that these are aimed at families that are below 185% of the poverty guidelines. Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, I can see you nodding.
Correct,
can you
Mr.
just that is correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so we're talking about quite low income families. Looking to see if there are other questions. I'm just going to ask a question myself about the overlap then with some of the other proposals that we've heard, and recognizing that this is the need in this area. We heard a proposal regarding CCAP, and we'll hear others as well. Presumably, if we have some funding available in some other areas, that might reduce some of the need regarding this proposal, and that they would sort of interact with one another. Is that correct, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, or you may have a testifier, or somebody who can comment on that? But can you just talk about that for us?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I think that is correct. And I tried to briefly address that kind of in my opening statement, when we know that there are just so many different pieces of the puzzle here in Minnesota when it comes to early care and learning. And scholarships are but one of the options for families. And it's certainly a flexible option that really is beneficial to children and parents where and when they need it the most. But since we do have so many other options for families, I do understand that presenting this vision for what the system could look like with scholarships, that we can kind of mold and mix the funding that is accessible to us to best support our youngest Minnesota learners, and depending on what the budget forecast looks like for this committee. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate Representative Durgan's support, and I think that this is just a way that we can move forward, having really concrete information about what the need is out there, and what it could look like with scholarships.
Thank you so much, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn. And then one other thing I just want to point out to folks as well is that this proposal, as introduced or with the amendment, continues to focus on, have quite a bit of the Pathway 1 scholarships. And we know that there is a cap in place for Pathway 2 scholarships. And I guess I'll just note and would invite you, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, any comment you want to make. But members, I do anticipate that we'll be hearing a proposal next week that will to address that issue and have a discussion regarding the Pathway 1 and Pathway 2 scholarship, the different scholarship pathways. So just to make sure that folks are aware that we do, I do anticipate that we'll be discussing that next week. Anything further you want to share regarding that, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, at all?
Thanks, Mr. Chair, for pointing that out. Both Pathway 1 and Pathway 2 are super important ways that families can achieve this level of care for their children. So I'm open to those discussions in the coming weeks.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we'll look forward to doing that next week. Okay, so then just looking to see if there are any further questions. We had an amazing set of testifiers there. I'm really painting a picture for us. In all kinds of ways. I am not seeing anything further, and so Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, you get to take us out here before we move to the next bill.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. I appreciate all the testifiers who came in today to discuss this program in particular, and I would appreciate member support as we build our budget bill.
Thank you so much, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn. And I had forgotten actually one final thing, which is members of the public. You'll recall from the CCAP hearing the other day that there was a letter that your attention was directed to, and I'm directing your attention back to that same letter. It's on our website. It's listed as MnLEDGE handout, and it's a series of groups from a wide variety of perspectives providing support for both of these approaches to funding for early childhood and for early care and learning. So I want to direct your attention to that. It's a MnLEDGE handout. So Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, thank you so much, and to your testifiers. With that, the chair does lay over House File 1293 for possible inclusion in our budget bill. We really appreciate it. To all of you. And then Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, you have your second bill, House File 911. Would you like to move that bill to put it before the committee? We'll get you unmuted there.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I would move House File 911.
Okay, thank you. And then again, you have an amendment. I don't know if you want to dive right into that, or how you want to do this. I'll leave that up to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I would move the A1 amendment at this time.
Okay, and Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, I think that it provides, it kind of directs some funding and provides an expansion of the program. Is that correct regarding the A1 amendment?
Yes, thank you. Yes, so the bill as amended would provide dedicated and sustained funding to ensure Head Start can serve families with children prenatal to age 5 by increasing the funding $45 million a year for each year of the biennium. And also it allows or provides for $17.5 million a year for facility grants to support those programs who want to expand their early Head Start services.
Okay, thank you. And so again, members, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, you are moving the A1 amendment. Is that correct?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So any questions about this is, again, just putting the bill in the form the author wishes. Not seeing anything. So all in favor of adoption of the A1 amendment, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Not hearing any. Okay, so the motion passes. The A1 amendment is adopted. You've got your amended bill. So Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, please begin your presentation and we'll move to your testifiers.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So as I just mentioned, House File 911 as amended provides that sustained funding to ensure Head Start can continue serving families prenatal through age 5. And of this appropriation, 10.72% of the annual state Head Start budget is dedicated to tribal Head Start programming. So this allocation is also included in the governor's budget recommendations, the initial budget recommendations from earlier this year, and that tribal leaders were consulted and worked in tandem to reach this recommended percentage. We have heard a little bit about Head Start and the availability and accessibility across the state of Minnesota. So these programs serve in each of Minnesota's 87 counties with comprehensive early childhood and family development services to families living at or below the federal poverty from prenatal to age 5. So the models for early Head Start and Head Start's comprehensive services are provided in center-based, home-based, and partnerships with schools and child care centers. And these education, health, nutrition, social supports are designed for the individual needs of each child and their family, and they're evident in all of the models. Head Start programs still have too many eligible families currently on waiting lists. Seems to be a theme here in this committee, and I appreciate all of your support in helping us do something about that. So there are currently over 2,000 families on the waiting list for early Head Start and Head Start programs, and they could also serve up to 4,000 more families given if the resources for expansion are available and accessible. Early Head Start and Head Start produces great outcomes in getting kids reading for school readiness success. And I will now ask my testifiers to share their experiences and additional details about the program.
Thank you very much, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn. So we've got Sandy Asimar. I'm not sure how to pronounce your last name, but I'll let you identify yourself, please, for the record, and then proceed.
Thank you.
Hello.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Representative Pinto. My name is Sandra Simar, and I am the Head Start and Early Head Start Director with Families First, and we serve Freeborn and Olmsted counties in Minnesota. And I just want to thank Chair Pinto and the members of the committee. This is an amazing time, and I just really thank you for the heroic approach you are making around really meeting the needs of the most vulnerable population in our state. And as the representative explained, Early Head Start and Head Start do serve the most vulnerable population in our community. We serve children from families at or below 100% of the federal poverty level. And so for a family of 3, that is $21,960 a year. In addition to that eligibility, families can be eligible with, if they qualify under the definition of homeless, if it's a foster child, if they're receiving TANF-funded services, or if there's SSI income in the family. So right now we are serving a very diverse, vulnerable population. In our program, over 50% of the children that we serve come from families where English is not their home language. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Early Head Start, and it's just so exciting how Early Head Start has really transformed over the years in serving infants, toddlers, and pregnant women. So when Early Head Start first started, it was primarily a home-based model, which is a very good model for many of the families that we serve. But now there's been more movement towards center-based, where infants and toddlers are being served in centers for full-year programming. And part of our Head Start performance standards maintains that we have to have a 1-to-4 staff-to-child ratio in those centers. And there's also standards around curriculum and assessment. We are required to have at least 10% of our enrollment children with identified disabilities. So that means when children and families come into our program, even as infants, and we're assessing and screening children and making referrals to the Part C providers in our state, those children and families are getting access to those additional services as part of their enrollment with us. So I think the most exciting part is the whole family approach. So we're coming alongside not only the child, and yes, I love to go into the centers and hold those babies, but also we're working with the parents and really helping them. And I just want to give a quick story about one of the parents that we had in our home-based program in Albert Lee. When Penny came in, she had 2 children. She was a single mom. She met our eligibility guidelines. And as our home visitors started working with her in these 90-minute-a-week home visits, the home visitor was identifying that parent's strengths to her, assuring and reassuring that parent the strengths that she had. And together, they work towards what kind of goals that parent would have. Well, Penny decided that she thought it was too much to dream for, but she wanted to buy a house and she wanted to get a nursing degree. And I'm happy to tell you that Penny was overjoyed when she shared with me that she had accomplished both those goals. So not only what we do with serving these children makes a difference, but how we really influence the whole family as we're working alongside of them. And so that's been one of the real joys of my life, is to be able to really be part of a program that works that looks at the most at-risk children in our community and really supports them in a 2-generation approach. And we also, one of the things that surprises me about Head Start when I first came on it over 30 years ago is the emphasis on health. We know how critical health is for our children and families. And so not only do our Head Start performance standards say that we need to make sure that all of our children are up to date on immunizations, physicals, screenings, but if anything is identified in those processes, then we need to come alongside those families and make sure they get the follow-up. Whether that means they need dental treatment, whether that means that they need to have be seen that they need additional vision support. Those are the things that really make a difference for children and families too. So thank you so much for the time, and I just really, again, applaud your efforts to really make a difference for the children in our state.
Thank you so much, Ms. Simar. We appreciate your testimony and your really important work. I'm guessing you're getting a special a shout out and hello from Representative Bennett, who represents Freeborn County. So we wish you the very best in your part of the state. And actually then to the metro area, Rico Alexander, you are up next. If you can please identify yourself for the record and proceed.
Okay, good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the committee. My name is Rico Alexander. I'm the Head Start Director for Parents and Community Action, better known to most as PICA. We provide comprehensive early Head Start services to over 2,500 infants, toddlers, preschoolers, and pregnant mothers in the county. I want to thank you for this opportunity this morning to share the critical need for the increased support for early Head Start. As you know, and unfortunately, there's a huge shortage of affordable, high-quality care and education for infants and toddlers in Minnesota. Statewide, we serve just 9% of those eligible for early Head Start services. And although PICA is the largest agency in the state, we only serve 13% of eligible infants and toddlers and less than 1% of eligible pregnant mothers in Hennepin County. And throughout the years, and especially during this past year, Head Start and Early Head Start have been a lifeline for parents struggling to overcome the many barriers that they have faced to accessing services to support their families and educate their children. Our support is critical to breaking the cycle of poverty, helping children to succeed in school and to create a strong workforce. Expanding Early Head Start services will allow more children in poverty and children of color access to early care and education at a time when children of color are failing in school at the highest rate in the country. I can't emphasize enough how critical it is to get our kids off to a good start and provide them with the foundation needed to succeed in school and beyond. This pandemic has shed a brighter light on the systemic and historical racism that has existed in our communities for decades, impacting children and families living in poverty the most. And again, our children and our children of color in Minnesota experience the greatest educational disparities in this country. And in addition, expanding access will not only help to address the gap in affordable, high-quality infant, toddler, and prenatal care, but it would also create living wage jobs in communities across the state where such opportunities don't currently exist. Expanding Early Head Start will give more people back to work and more people back to school. This expansion would also have strong positive economic impacts on our local communities as well, as we need to build and renovate or even purchase additional space if we were to be able to add more children. This will also result in more goods and services being purchased from both large and small businesses, more job opportunities being created in low-income communities, and through Early Head Start, more parents having access to job training and experience that will qualify them for living wage employment, leading to economic self-sufficiency. So we have a great opportunity right now to double down on our efforts to prioritize services for our children and families living in poverty by increasing funding to Early Head Start and thus positively impacting our children, our families, our education system, and our state's economy, which will produce measurable benefits for generations to come. And I ask that you all fully support House File 9 11. I just want to thank you for your time.
Thank you so much for your testimony and for your work for kids in our community. Really appreciate it. I've got Ms. Bryant up as the last testifier. If you can please unmute, identify yourself, and proceed with your testimony. We'll get you in there.
Yes.
Hey, there you go.
Good morning, Chair and Representatives. Thank you for allowing me to have this time. My name is Tiana Bryant. I am a Head Start parent at PICA, the largest Head Start agency in our state, as Mr. Rico said. I'm also the chair of PICA's Parent Policy Council. Policy Council representatives are elected by their peers and have decision-making authority in the program. I have 6 sons. I'm a single mother. 4 of them have attended the early Head Start and Head Start at PICA. And since I've become involved in the community with the program, I've had many opportunities to learn new skills, to play an active role in my children's education, and to see firsthand the tremendous difference that early Head Start and Head Start have made in my children's lives. In searching for childcare in Hennepin County, I can testify that there isn't a lot out there that parents like me can afford, especially for infants and toddlers. And I have 2 twins now that are 2, so believe me. I can also tell you that infants and toddlers really need high quality care to help them develop the skills that will allow them to succeed in kindergarten and throughout their school years. As I've seen with my own children, early Head Start is the key to giving children a good, strong start in life that will help them to learn and grow and become ready for school. In early Head Start, the youngest children develop strong bonds with their caregivers, and they learn to trust and explore the world around them, which is very important for our children. As they grow, they participate in learning activities that help them with cognitively, physically, and socially, emotionally. The sooner they have access to this high quality care and education, the better they're prepared when they move on to Head Start and eventually to kindergarten. At PICA, where my children have attended both the early Head Start and Head Start programs, I also was in their prenatal program. Diversity is a norm, and this has had such a positive effect on my children. They not only learn from teachers of color, but they are also exposed to other cultures and customs and other languages and have learned to appreciate and respect them too, which I can say the rest of the world can learn from right now. My children's teachers take time to get to know them and to teach them, and they're very engaged with my children. They also want them to learn. All children are free to explore and ask questions, and they learn in the ways that's best for them. I can trust the teachers at PICA and that they'll always do what's best for my child. Since becoming involved with PICA, as I said, I've gotten a lot more involved with my community. PICA has given me many opportunities. Besides being on a chair, I was able to do internship for the healthcare and parent training programs. I now sit on the board with Community Action, which I never thought I had the opportunity to do. As they mentioned before, it's not just for the children, it's for the families. That's why I'm here today, to encourage you to increase funding for Head Start, early Head Start. If more children and families were able to take advantage of early Head Start has to offer, everything they have to offer, our children will be better prepared to succeed in school and in our communities, and will be stronger as a result. Not just our children, but as I mentioned before, the parents, the family. And that's what makes our communities better and safer. And that's what we all want. So please, and thank you for taking this time, for listening to me, to invest more into our early child care. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Bryant. Thank you for your work with your kids, and also on behalf of all the kids in your service on the Parent Council, et cetera, in your testimony today too. Thank you so much. So I think we are ready for member questions and or discussion. So we'll please, folks, raise your hand if you have anything there. Representative Jurgens, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You know, before COVID, as we all have visitors in our office, I remember a visit by local Head Start, some parents and kids, and a little guy named Wyatt was part of that group. And they invited me to come to their Head Start at the Newport United Methodist Church, where they're renting some space. So I went there to read a book to the kids. 3 to 5 year olds. And I think I read My Oh My, a Butterfly, Dr. Seuss book. And who do you think is in there but my little friend Wyatt? I walked in to read and he said, "Hey, I know you." And he recognized me before I could pick him out of the group of kids. So I've seen firsthand what a program like this does. And I think it's very beneficial. And this is another bill that I was signed on to as a co-author. So I think it's an important program. I've seen firsthand some of the benefits of it and met some people that are taking advantage of it, how it's helping their families. So thanks again to Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn.
Thank you, Representative Jurgens. Thanks so much. Representative Pryor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And well, great testimony to hear this morning. And it just it's really exciting to be a part of this and to know how important this impact is on our whole communities. So the question I have though is, it's like, always learning. There's things I don't know that much about. And one thing but I always want to know more about. So Ms. Seimer mentioned the home-based part programming with Early Head Start. And I'm not really really familiar with how that works and what that looks like. So if we could hear a little bit more about that part of the program.
And Representative Pryor, I was going to kind of call that out too. And if I'm understanding your question, asking about not only the care and learning outside the home, but actually kind of the home visiting part of Early Head Start as well. Is that right? What you're asking about? Yeah. Okay. So you're nodding. Who could testify? Who could provide some input for us on that? I know that the executive director of the Head Start Association is on as well. Or one of our testifiers, Ms. Seimer, perhaps, since you had first brought it up for Representative Pryor. We'll kind of see who unmutes themselves and makes themselves available. Yes, Mr. Gradke, we've got you. If you can identify yourself for the record here, and then please answer Representative Pryor's question.
Thank you, Representative Pinto and the committee. I will answer the question, yes. And again, thank you for having us on today. Early Head Start home visiting.
Actually, hold on one second. If you can just identify who you are first before you proceed. Sorry.
Sorry. Craig Gradke, Minnesota Head Start Association Executive Director.
Thank you, and please proceed. Thanks.
Yes. So the Early Head Start home visiting model, it's a nationally recognized model. The program provides 40 up to 40. Well, at a minimum of 46 home visits a year, 1 home visit a week for 90 minutes, and 2 socialization experiences a month. And that's where families and children come together for a part of a day. And it's really beneficial in a lot of our communities where parents can't get out, more rural communities, or where families have mental health issues or no transportation, kind of those kind of things that limit them from getting into sites. And so we do that. We do prenatal programming around a very similar model to that of home visiting. And that's for pregnant women until they give birth. And then there's a transition period and children move into that space. And then we serve them up through 3 until they can transition into Head Start, or if they're no longer income eligible, they transition into other programming. We work with communities to make that happen. So part of that is we have ongoing curriculum that's a nationally recognized curriculum. It's normed in standards. Programs can pick whatever curriculum they want. There's a series of them. There's ongoing assessment pieces to that. And this year, some of you have probably seen the data that we've sent out around school readiness for the 3 and 5 year olds. This year, we're starting to collect data on 0 to 3. So we have some limited data. Next year, you'll be able to see data on our 0 to 3 kids as well. Did that answer the question?
We'll find out. Representative Pryor, follow up on that?
Thank you. Thank you for the information.
Yeah, good stuff. As long as we have you, Mr. Gradke, I was going to ask, it's kind of related to that. We've been looking at the ways in which these different programs interact with one another. And I guess members, just to confirm that Early Head Start and Head Start are on the education side of our work. We've talked a lot about being under the education versus Department of Human Services, et cetera. It seems, Mr. Gradke, that with Early Head Start, we have that connection to prenatal care, as you said, and home visiting, so that more than, let's say, the regular Head Start, it's that particular, that sort of piece and the focus on infants and toddlers. Is that kind of one of the, kind of what distinguishes it in that way?
Yes, yep. Well, and I would say all of Early Head Start is, if you look at Head Start, Early Head Start as a model, Early Head Start really was born out of stabilizing families and a whole family approach and a multi-generational approach. And so when we look at bringing little kids in and working with them, we take them where they're at and we go from there, much as we do with families. And so, you know, it could be a grandma that we're working with. It could be, we have children that are receiving foster care services. So we're part of working with the foster care system and providing system services there across settings so that families are stabilized. Do a lot of work within child protection within that system to work with families so that families can stay together. So there's a lot of different components to that. And as Sandy mentioned, you know, we're looking out for the health, the mental health, oral health, nutrition. We're providing all of those different aspects of programming, and that's Head Start pays for those. Even in Head Starts, even in Early Head Start centers, we're picking up the cost for diapers and food. It's a requirement. It's a federal requirement to make sure that the needs of the children are being met. And we provide a lot of mental health wraparound services as part of that too.
Hey, Mr. Gradke, can you confirm the income limits for families participating in Early Head Start? Just do you have a sense in terms of reference to federal poverty guidelines?
I do, and as Sandy mentioned, and you know, if we look at, I don't have it right in front of me, but if we would look at like a family of four, it's around $26,000 per year, and that's gross income. So that is before taxes and all of that. It's what that's the measure. The other indicators of that are foster care. If they're homeless and they have to meet the requirements around homelessness, there is if they're receiving TANF, and then if they're on SSI. So those are kind of we talk about the income kind of level portion of that, and then we talk about like the automatic qualifiers, and that list is kind of the automatic qualifiers to get into program.
If you could send us, or perhaps somebody could, how that $24,000 approximately that you said translates to percentage of federal poverty guidelines.
It's 100% or less.
Okay, so 100% or less. So some of the other programs we've talked about 185% of federal poverty guidelines, which is still very low income, but this is 100% of federal poverty guidelines, even lower income.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. To be income eligible for Head Start, it is 100% of poverty or less. And we have a handful of families that are at 50% of the poverty guideline. So,
wow. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Chair Davney, over to you.
Thank you, Chair Pinto, and apologize to Mr. Gradke first for probably butchering his name, but secondly, for this question. But my current obsession is trying to understand the American Rescue Plan, which has a number of very targeted initiatives within it that are expected to have significant positive impacts on reducing child poverty. Mm-hmm. And so I would anticipate, and I'm asking you to correct me if I'm wrong, but I would anticipate that a number of families who are currently eligible for Head Start will lose eligibility because they will no longer be at 100% of the federal poverty level or below once they are better able to access the earned income tax credit, once they're better able to access the restructured early childhood or child tax credit, once they are able to take advantage of a number of the programs in the American Rescue Plan. Has Head Start, and this is the second apology, had the chance to kind of take in what this means for your program, and perhaps were there changes to Head Start in the American Rescue Plan that I'm not aware of? Thank you.
Mr. Gradke.
Well, I can answer it. That's kind of a twofold question. There was $1 billion appropriated in the American Recoveries Act for Head Start. Minnesota will get, I think, around 11.75 million of that. That is goes directly to COVID mitigation. And so one of the things that maybe you haven't heard is that Head Start programs pretty much stayed operational. There was a short period of time we were down last March to do some planning, and then we rolled right into providing services, whether that was virtual or in person. And the bulk of services, there was a lot of maintenance of in-person services. And so a lot of PPE was purchased, a lot of hand sanitizer, a lot of those things happened. We were able to get food out to families, whether they had to stop in and pick it up or whether it was delivered on buses. A lot of the activities that we did typically, we maintained doing. Maybe a little bit differently with a lot of safety protocols in place, but we were able to maintain doing those. So that is, that money will go to continue that piece. It's not for more kids, it's one-time money. And so that's how that will shake out. Now, to answer the other part of the question, what we've seen, and this is kind of what we're seeing is an uptick of eligibility right now. It's kind of like after ARA. If you remember the ARA period back in the day, the economy was in pretty rough shape, and there were a lot more eligible families than there typically were during those few years. And so we're seeing this increase in the number of families eligible because they're unemployed. There's just a whole lot of factors in communities right now with businesses closing, those kinds of things. And so we're seeing an increase on that side. What I anticipate is we will see that number come back down. But I always, in the communities that we serve, there's always going to be a level of poverty. Mm-hmm. and we have to strive to do that. Right now, as Rico said, we're only serving a small portion. When we looked at the number of eligible families in Minnesota, early on, Representative Pinto asked us to do that. There are roughly a little over 50,000 eligible pregnant women and children in Minnesota right now that are under the poverty guidelines, that 100% of poverty. We're serving not even a quarter of that. It's about 20% of that population is what we're serving. And we have a huge waiting list. I would anticipate that there will be some fluctuation there, but there's always going to be demand and need, and more than we can meet currently, and even with this ask.
Sure, Dabney.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Gretke, thank you for that. I mean, I think we can have a lot of hope and optimism around the impact of the American Recovery Plan on low-income families and on those communities. But Mr. Gretke rightly warns us that there's a whole lot of poverty out there across the state, and it's not all going to go away. And we know that those families are particularly challenged in accessing quality childcare, and that those are the children who actually benefit the most from quality childcare and the work of this committee. So thank you.
Thank you, Chair Dabney. And I guess I'll note that disproportionately Minnesotans living in poverty are disproportionately the very youngest Minnesotans, a huge proportion. So yeah, Mr. Gradke, that's a good reminder that we can lift a whole bunch out of poverty, but we've still got children in that situation. Yeah, so thank you, Chair Dabney, for that line of questions. Representative Pryor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I appreciate that we do have time, and I assume, taking for granted that we do have time for some further questions.
A little more of a chance to breathe today, Representative Pryor. Yeah, please.
Thank you. I would also, if we have the opportunity to hear more about the outreach to prenatal and to pregnant women, because I know that this is obviously a huge impact on a child's life, is the conditions under which your mother is living at the time of pregnancy. So how, I guess how much of is it, should we, that 9% that we're reaching right now, Is that about the same for the home-based prenatal care also, and how long is this always been part of Early Head Start, or is it something that's, or how does that all work into it? And I guess I would just like to hear more about that part of the program. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gradke.
Thank you. Yes. And so what? First part of that is yes. The Early Head Start has always had a prenatal component, and it's up to programs to kind of decide how many prenatal spaces that they can take on. Along with that, those services, in theory, they happen, kind of based on parent need and what shakes out. A lot of programs have adopted a home-based model to do that. And what we try to do is we try to target, of course, our families, the pregnant women have to be eligible, have to meet the eligibility requirements to come in the program. And we try to recruit the moms as early in pregnancy as possible so that we can ensure that they're healthy for the length of pregnancy. A lot of programs in Minnesota target pregnant teens as part of that and provide services to that age group, or moms that are really high risk. And so I can talk a little bit around that. We get referrals from high schools, high school counselors about pregnant teens. County social services at times will provide referrals to programs because moms are a part of their systems. They maybe have children that have been removed. There may be some substance use history, those kinds of things, mental health kind of services needed. So that's how those moms.
Stuff up last night either, Tyrese.
1 second, Mr. Gradke. Ms. Bryant, oh, good. We got muted. Yeah, Mr. Gradke, please continue.
So that's how those moms come to us. Right now, we're serving. I would have to look, but it's a fairly small percentage. It's I think the last data that we have, it's probably around 450 pregnant women per year, and that was 2019 data. So, and if you look at the 3,000 kids and you take out about 500, that would be the percentage of what we're serving.
And Representative Pryor, follow-up? It's like, okay, got what you need. Oh, you all said okay. And Mr. Gradke, I want to wrap up in just a second here, but just could you comment briefly? Perhaps the bill's author will want to, but I suspect that she'll prefer to have you do it. The language in the original bill that wasn't touched by the amendment about this is lines 2.17 to 2.19, just dedicating 10.72% of the appropriation to federally designated tribal Head Start programs. I just want to make sure that we're all. Can you just clarify again exactly what the purpose is of that? I assume Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, you're okay directing that to Mr. Gradke. Yeah, if you can just clarify for that for us really briefly, Mr. Gradke.
Okay, so in the state funding formula, there is the money is broken out in a couple of different ways, and one of those ways is there is the money flows to the tribal programs, but it fluctuates based on the amount of federal funding coming into the state. So this would stabilize their funding. Typically, over the last number of years, it's been anywhere from 8 to a little over 8% to the 10.72%. But it's been stable over a very, very long time between that amount. And so we were able to have discussions with the tribal programs, the 8 tribal nations representing 11 communities, about how to look at their funding in a very different way so that it was stable. They could count on what they needed, or what they could count on kind of their funding level from year to year, and to build out, so they could build out some of their programming. What we know about the tribal programs, and I was able to talk to some of them yesterday, certainly their communities are within our communities, but they operate programs on tribal lands, and they have a real deep need. And so, when we look at certainly not the largest populations of the state, but very, very underserved, and a population that has issues with substance use, issues with violence against women. There's tremendous issues that they're identifying, and the families need all the support that they can get. And so this is a way to help them stabilize that and make sure that when like Leech Lake gets their amount, it's their amount from year to year, and they're not having to go up and down with the numbers of kids they're serving, the numbers of families they're serving. They kind of know that. So it takes care of some of those issues.
Thank you for that clarification. We know a lot of historical trauma and a lot of racism leading up to all of what you described. So we appreciate you sharing that. So I don't see any other questions, and I'll just note, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, before turning things finally back to you, that to give your closing comments, but I'd ask Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn to have this focus on early Head Start and recognizing that we've got various streams going to early care and learning in various ways, but recognizing that this unique role that early Head Start can play, I felt like it was particularly important to identify that and the need. But Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, we'll ask you to close things out, and then we'll move to the final bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to all the testifiers and for Mr. Gratke to be here to answer some of those more specific questions today. Thank you to Representative Juergens and Representative Bolden for being co-sponsors of this proposal. I think, just reiterating again the ongoing need that we have, in particular for our lowest income families across the state of Minnesota and with the tribal nations as well. Excuse me, Head Start does such fantastic programming to not only serve the children, but as one of our testifiers alluded to, it really contributes to the growth and development of the whole family. So I'm really proud to support this program, and I appreciate the consideration as we go forward and build our budget bill together.
Thank you so much, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn. And with that, the chair lays over House File 911 for possible inclusion in our budget bill. And then finally, your third bill, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, is House File 1568. Would you like to move that to place it before the committee?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I would move House File 1568 to be before the committee for consideration.
Thank you so much. I don't see any amendments. And so if you can please present your bill. We've got at least one testifier, looks like. So please begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So House File 1568 is the kindergarten readiness assessment and study to ensure that we can identify the preparedness of any given child across the state for success beginning the K-12 system. So it can inform instructional decision-making. Kind of the proposal actually itself lists out the different reasons why we would implement this assessment to really make sure that we can harness the data and evaluate the effectiveness of all the early childhood programs that are accessible. So I do thank Mr. Chair for signing on as a co-sponsor, as well as Lead Franzen. And I think that this will really allow us to get a better picture of what is accessible to families, what is working, and where we can make improvements for children in those first few years of their life. So I would ask that my testifier, Cisa Keller, give a little bit more background information, and then we'd stand for questions.
Thank you, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn. Ms. Keller, welcome. Really glad to have you. Please identify yourself and proceed.
Absolutely. Good morning, Chair Pinto and members of the committee. Glad to be back here. Again, my name is Cisa Keller, and I'm the Senior Vice President for Early Childhood Quality Development at Think Small. Think Small is working towards our strategic plan population level result of all children ready for kindergarten. We do this by strengthening families, preparing providers, and catalyzing change. I'm here today in support of House File 1568. As part of Minnesota's Race to the Top Early Learning Challenge grant, the foundation for this proposal was developed. That grant included significant efforts and resources to improve and expand Minnesota's kindergarten entry assessment, which has now existed in some form for nearly 20 years. During that 5-year grant period, the Minnesota Department of Education identified a set of assessment tools that met their criteria of being valid, reliable, and appropriate for the diversity of Minnesota's young children, while providing local programs and the state information that could improve day-to-day interactions with children, as well as state-level decisions impacting programs. Despite this, the kindergarten entry assessment is not yet used in a way that provides us with that kind of critical information, which is where this bill comes in. This language specifies the tools also be aligned with Minnesota's early childhood indicators of progress in kindergarten academic standards. So we know we're measuring the factors that matter most to children's development and school readiness. The language specifies that MDE must provide districts with a process for measuring kindergarten readiness, and that districts using the tool must report results to MDE. It also requires the commissioner to report publicly on the kindergarten readiness results statewide. Finally, the language clearly states why we need the kindergarten entry assessment, and that is to identify children's school preparedness, to inform instructional design making, and to improve our understanding of the connection between school readiness and later academic outcomes. And finally, to provide the data that can assist in the evaluation of the effectiveness of the early childhood programs. Think Small is also co-chairs the Early Care and Education the Early Care and Education Crisis Work Group, along with the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce. The Crisis Work Group also strongly supports this bill because it is only through collecting ongoing collection and public reporting of data on how well Minnesota's children are prepared for success in kindergarten that we can see and work to close early gaps and opportunities. Thank you, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Ms. Keller, for the testimony and also for your longtime leadership in this work. We appreciate it. Members, as you have questions, please raise your hand. I'll note just at the outset, members, that it's really been important to me and the committee that we be doing two things at once. We've been hearing presentations on the need for investment, and we've had a lot of talk about that, which has been so important. And we need to make sure that the system is working as well as it possibly can, so that investment is working well. And I view this proposal similarly to the proposal from Representative Pryor on Tuesday regarding the evaluation of Parent Aware as being part of that, making sure that the system is working just as well as it possibly can. And it feels important to have both those things happening at once. So I'm just looking to see, and Representative Bolden, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, for bringing this forward. My question is around sort of using our equity lens and thinking about other standardized testing, realizing that this is different than that, but I'm just sort of making an analogy. We know that standardized testing has not always had that cultural competence, sort of factor in it. And so can you or Ms. Keller speak to how will we ensure that we are maintaining cultural competence with this process and making sure that we are enhancing equity and not creating barriers for the BIPOC community? And can you just speak to that a little bit?
Want to see Ms. Keller, please.
Yeah, I'm happy. Thank you, Chair Pinto and Representative Bolden. So I can speak a little bit to it, and then I'd like to actually invite our friends from the Minnesota Department of Education to expand on that. To your point, the kindergarten entry assessment is a very different than a standardized test. It is more of a whole child assessment. We're looking at all sorts of things, including social and emotional approaches to learning, curiosity, things like that. And as we mentioned, or I mentioned in my testimony, this is really aligned with our indicators of progress, in which cultural competence is being more and more embedded in those indicators of progress. So I think we're on the right track. There's always more to do, but with the specifics, I'm wondering if we can't invite Debbie Hewitt from MDE to speak more to it.
And I see Ms. Hewitt is on, and so Ms. Hewitt, please, if you can identify yourself and then proceed to answer the question as best you can.
Yes, thank you, Chair Pinto. This is Debbie Hewitt from the Minnesota Department of Education. I am the Early Learning Services Interim Director. And to answer what I can from this question, the assessments that are part of the KEP assessment menu, there are 4. They are authentic assessments that children participate in their everyday activities, and observations are made by the teachers and the professionals that interact with them. So these are everyday activities. Children feel comfortable in the environment, and teachers are making observations and recording what they see, and then using that information to continue to support their growth and development. So they're very different in that way from the standardized sit and respond kinds of questions of other grades. And this is what's age appropriate at this level and provides the most information for instructional decision making. The assessments would be able to help us identify in which of the areas of learning or domains the trends show. We need to do more professional development and continue improvement in those areas in our early learning programs. Children are eligible for school when they're 5 as of September 1. They have their immunizations and have had early childhood screening. And so we want all children to enter when they are eligible and for schools to be ready for them and help them to continue their progress.
And Ms. Hewitt, when you said towards the beginning of that, you referenced the KEP. I just want to make sure folks understand, I believe, no problem, that you're referring to the kindergarten entry profile. Is that correct? Okay.
Chair Pinto,
good.
that is correct.
Good. Just want to make sure. Representative Bolden, follow up on that?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you so much. Ms. Hewitt, as long as we have you, could you please help us understand first, the kindergarten readiness assessment right now is something that is essentially voluntary for districts or some. Can you just remind us? We'd had a presentation quite a while back on this, but sort of how this proposal would change what is the current practice with this instrument.
Chair Pinto, thank you for the question. The current practice is that we recruit and kindergarten teachers voluntarily offer to conduct an assessment in the first 6 to 8 weeks of kindergarten. The participation in that voluntary program has been steadily declining, even though we've had really creative staff thinking about as many incentives to participate as possible. And then with COVID last year, there were no participants. We have begun to focus more of our data collection on the growth between entry and exit of VPK and School Readiness Plus, and that data submission could be enhanced to collect the kindergarten entry information that is being proposed.
Okay, thank you. And then I had another question. I'm just going to see if members have questions themselves, but not seeing any, I'll just ask this. We had heard a presentation, members may recall, regarding a proposal from the administration for changes to the kindergarten entry profile as part of the administration's budget proposal. I'm just wondering if you could comment, Ms. Hewitt or perhaps Ms. Keller, about how this proposal would interact with, if at all, with the proposal from the administration for the KEP changes, if you understand my question. Ms. Hewitt, either one of you provide. Ms. Hewitt, looks like you're not certain about that.
Chair Pinto, if I'm understanding you correctly, what the department had been thinking about and had proposed was much more of that focus on the growth between entry and exit of the pre-K programs. And this is that all kindergartners at the fall be assessed to identify where they are currently at in their development.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Keller, looks like you were going to comment on that as well. I'd appreciate that if the bill's author is okay with that, but like to get your perspective as well so we can understand the relationship between these two proposals.
Yeah, Chair Pinto, I don't have anything to add from Ms. Hewitt's response.
Okay, thank you. And members, we will be hearing the administration's final budget proposals since the budget forecast. We're hoping relatively soon, and so we'll be able to dive into that. But as long as we had this in front of us, I thought it'd be useful to see what we could glean about the relationship. So, okay, so I'm not seeing other hands that are up. And so in that case, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, we will give you the final word on this bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thanks to both Ms. Keller and Ms. Hewitt for being here today to answer some of those questions. I think that one of the things that we really do want to take care to do is collect data and make sure that we are making decisions based on quantitative reasoning and how we can factually improve upon the services that we are attempting to provide to Minnesota's youngest children and their families. And so I think that this proposal and the expansion of this this program would allow us to do just that, to really capture if there are more details available to us about this the opportunity gap that really is certainly so persistent here in Minnesota. If there are geographic challenges, if they are more socioeconomic, if they are, specific racial and equity challenges that we have in addition to what we know that we're facing already. So I think that this is just something that's going to continue to allow us to improve upon what the delivery of these services and continue to support both the programs, but then ultimately the families and children of Minnesota. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, and again, Representative Kotyza-Witthuhn, thanks for keeping your eye on both the need to invest in our system and also make sure the system as a whole is working as well as possible. And Ms. Keller, to you as well for your work. And Ms. Hewitt, thank you. So with that, the chair lays over House File 1568 for possible inclusion in our committee's budget bill. Members, next week on Tuesday, we will be hearing from Family Child Care Task Force recommendations, co-chaired by Representative Wozlowick. Representative Dameth will have some things to say on that too, which is terrific. And then some more on Thursday. So it'll be, again, a lot going on. Please keep in touch. And as we've raised a number of issues in the last week or so, and I will invite members of the public too that have input on some of the decisions that are coming up quickly to please get that to us as well. With that, members, thank you so much. And the meeting is adjourned. Have a great day and weekend.